All right, so another day of eBay work listing. So I'm just going to grab a couple boxes out of the truck. 1, 2, and we're just going to go. I mean, look how many we have to go through. You know, like I said, a lot of this stuff is from storage, and some of it will be the first time we've seen it in years and years. So I'm going to bring these in, and I'll show you how we're going to triage them, because some of it's going to the flea market, and some of it's going to be my next listings on eBay. So let's have a look. Okay, so I got the 2 boxes emptied out. There's mostly books in there, which I knew, and I kind of wanted to just show you what I found in there and what we're going to do with them. Now, like I said, some of these have been in storage, or I've owned some of these books 15, 20 years. So what I used to think about them is not necessarily the case for all of them now. Some have gone down in value, some have gone up. So I got a whole bunch of old optometry books here. Now, these were the types that used to sell $15 to $25, and we're really not trying to look for that kind of stuff right now. So these 3 I'm just going to put together in a lot on eBay. So I'm going to show you first is all the stuff that's going to eBay, and then I'll show you the stuff that isn't, book-wise anyway. This optician's dispensing manual was in there, and I had it listed as scarce, and still I'm not really finding one anywhere. So I'm going to probably put that at $75 on eBay. Again, you're seeing we're in this very specific non-fiction kind of mode. Hazard of immunization, I cannot find a copy of this anywhere, either on eBay or Bookfinder. 1967. And, you know, this subject matter could turn out to be current, you know, with the new administration and whatnot. So we'll see if I can, again, $75, because there just aren't any, maybe $175. I don't know. You can just go crazy and maybe someone will grab it. Maybe it'll sit there forever. I don't know. I've looked up most of this stuff before I did the video, just so I wouldn't have to go through an hour watching me do the research. But anyway, Picturesque Washington. Now this is a nice book, fairly common, but the thing that's uncommon about this is the condition that we've got. Now I had it, 1887. I was calling it 3850. I'm seeing them for about 75 plus or minus in this condition, and not actually selling, but some cheaper or lesser condition ones sold in the $30 range. So I'm going to put this one out for $45 or $48. It's a really nice one. It'd be certainly the nicest one in that price range on eBay. So that's kind of what we'll do with that. Again, specific nonfiction, Poodles in America, right? Now there's a bunch of these that came out on a regular basis. So I'm seeing several in the $30 to $50 range. It came out in different years, same format, and some people have sold collections of them for $150 and $200. They were 1967. So this one will be a good somewhere in the $30 to $35 range. That's a good price point for us on eBay. Story of Sandwich Glass. Now, the sandwich glass is very, very collectible. And, you know, I've had this book for a long time, and I thought, geez, this has got to be $100 or more, right? Because it's it shows the history of how they make this glass and factory and everything. So can't find any on Bookfinder. And I go to look on eBay, and there's one for $10 and there's one for $20. Now, I was tempted to just buy them both and have the only one and keep this one looking rare. But so what's going to happen with that is that's going to be a $5 book at the flea market, because it's got collectible subject matter. So that's a kind of a nice thing. If there's a sandwich glass collector that comes by, or even just a glass collector at all, they'll pay $5 for that book. I've got a few more that are going to go in that $5 pile too. I'll bring those out. Lakeport's Ancient Homes. Now again, this is an early history of a area in New Hampshire, you know, showing the old homes. This is done in 1917, and there are none on eBay, and there are only 2 on Bookfinder at $149 and $150. And I think I may offer this to one of my collectors, because I've got a few things I took out I found for him that he may be interested in. So this will probably end up being something I offer to him, you know, personally before I put it on eBay. He buys a lot of stuff from me. So when I find something cool like that I think he might want, I show it to him first. Trophies from the Missionary Museum. Really cool book. There's one at $145 on eBay, not sold, and right around $50 on Bookfinder for one like this. You know, pretty scarce item, so that's probably going to end up on eBay. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I mean, I know I've had this book for at least 10 or 15 years, and right now I'm seeing 80. Actually, it was 200 plus on eBay, and they're asking $200 to $300 on Bookfinder. So again, that's like a $75 or $95 item. It's a first edition, very popular. It was turned into a movie. History of Lumbering in Maine from 1935. Again, specific nonfiction history. History of a specific task in a specific area is even better. Not well illustrated or anything, but I bought 3 of these one day, and I sold the other 2 for $75, and this one's just been hanging around, pulled it back out of storage. There's one on eBay being offered at $85, and there's a reprint that was done in 1961, I believe, of this. It was like 25 plus or minus, and that actually sold. So the $85 one hasn't sold, so I'm going to probably, again, $45, $48. This book was just made into a movie recently, so there's a lot of this book has gained a lot of popularity, and it seems to be selling pretty well. So one of these sold. This is it was 1939 originally. This is a 1978 reprint in a dust jacket, but this is the first time. I think they did 3 printings in 1939. It wasn't reprinted until 1978. So this is basically like it's a first printing of the second edition, and it's a totally different book, you know, because end paper maps are different, and I think there's photos that weren't in the first book and whatnot. So one of these sold for $65 on eBay, and there's only 2 on Bookfinder, $175 and $300. So I'm going to probably be in the $95 range for that on eBay. And we can certainly take an offer on it too. And I had a couple more books that I'm going to offer to my collector pal. 10 Years on the Rock Pile. This is about Mount Washington in New Hampshire. It's a signed limited edition, and they're not terribly valuable, and I don't know why really, because there were only, I think, 100 and, well, I'll show you exactly how many there were in a minute, but I just thought these books were better than I think they should be worth more than they seem to be, because you can buy one of these for $20 to $50, you know, signed. But actually, there's only 2 signed on Bookfinder right now, none on eBay, no signed ones. But what's cool about this is there's 2 hand-written, hand-signed notes from the author Lee Vincent. So that gives it some provenance, and it also makes it the only one anywhere like it, because I guarantee there are no other books with these. Well, can't guarantee that, but I doubt there are any other books with these 2 handwritten notes in it. So that's something that I think will pique the interest of my White Mountain collector friend. So I'll offer that to him. Concord's Wagon Men. These are the Concord coaches that were made in Concord, New Hampshire. Again, very extremely well-known and collectible type of subject matter. They have museums with these things, and if you ever in Maine go to the Freiburg Fair, there's a whole bunch of them there. They have like a little wagon museum there. So anyway, this one I'm finding not on eBay, and $35 to $100 on Bookfinder, and there's maybe only 2 of them there, maybe 3. So this is kind of a scarce little piece of ephemera almost, and that I will also offer to my collector friend. History of Sandwich Libraries. This is Sandwich, New Hampshire, not Sandwich Glass. Totally different. But it's 1972. History of the Sandwich Libraries in Ways of Right and Sobriety. So I think this might be kind of interesting. I know he lives in that general vicinity. So again, that's another thing I'm going to offer to him. I'm not going to try to get a lot of money for it from him, but I just think it might be of some interest. All right, now we're going to go into the things that are going to the flea market. Again, this stuff is just popping out of storage. I see one of these, it's a game, you know, some marijuana game, and it appears to be complete in the box. There's one on eBay being offered for, I think, $12 or $13 with shipping. So this is going to go to the flea market, probably end up in that $3 to $5 range. It's unique. So these are 16 millimeter not home movies, but commercial movies. And the way I looked these up, first I went to look at Castle Films, and I saw that there were like 1,000 16mm Castle Films for sale on eBay. Then I went and I plugged in the titles. I just went Animal Thrills, and there were 5 or 6 of these, but none of these had sold. And Italy Surrenders, these are black and white. They did a whole bunch of black and white World War II era stuff, and those only seem to sell for like $15 or $20, and these are only being offered at $15 or $20. So these are $5 flea market items. These used to be saleable, or if I had them at $15 or $20, I can put them in the store. I used to sell this stuff on eBay, but it's just too common now. So I kid you not, Jack Parr, these are books that are going to go for $1. And even though it's In Praise of Wine by a well-known author, and it is an advanced copy, none of them have sold. So you look on eBay and there's like 30 of these, and nobody has bought one in the last 90 days. So chances are good it's just not going to sell. So off it goes, right? This is just in a magazine, probably from the 1950s. So this is the kind of stuff, we just fill up boxes and boxes of paper like that for $1, or sometimes we'll have a box of $5 too. But that's going to be in a $1 pile. Clement C. Moore, it was the night before Christmas. This is a Coca-Cola Hallmark thing. Anyway, so it's kind of collectible, but there's so many of them. And the ones that are selling on eBay are selling for like $3 to $5 with shipping. So that's definitely a $1 item for us. It's not something we're interested in working on eBay. This is just a book, I'm not even sure. The Happy Prince, Oscar Wilde. I'm sure at some point I found that this had some value. Literary Guild of America. Anyway, this is a nice illustrated book, very popular title, popular author. So that's going to go, that's going to be $1. Now, we've got some $5 books, Letters of Charles Eliot Norton. And, I'm hoping somebody buys it just because they want some filler for their bookshelf, because it's kind of a handsome looking set. There's one on eBay being offered for $25, and again, nothing's selling. So I'm just trying to sell that as as shelf filler. So we're kind of stacking up our $5, 3 to 5. I'm saying if I start them out $5 one day, they don't sell. Maybe the next day we'll put them all at 3. So I'm trying to give you an idea what we're doing with our flea market inventory too. And we're going to be up to this for a while, so stay tuned, and you'll see how we're loading up, and then you'll see us at the flea market too. Henry James, The Golden Bowl. This is 1905, second edition, and someone's asking, I think it was $80 or $85 for one that doesn't have a chipped end. 1904 was the original one, and that's in this format. Someone's asking $400, and you could probably get $150 to $200 if it was a 1904. This is a 1905. So again, this is just going to go in the $5 pile for the flea market, because if there's a Henry James collector, $5 is pretty good for that. Again, Cactus Country. This is Edward Abbey, and this is a first printing, American Wilderness Time Life books. And in a dust jacket, we used to get $100 for this pretty steadily, 75 to 100, and without a dust jacket, I could get 35 to 50. And I know it's a first printing. I'm just going to show you with these Time Life books, because they printed them over and over. You go to the very last page at the index. You see that little hourglass down there? That's their designation of a first printing, all these Time Life series. So if you're ever looking at those, the Time Life books, that's how you tell it's a first edition. So, since this is such a well-known author, he's the one that wrote The Monkey Wrench Gang. If you've heard of that book. Anyway, that was Edward Abbey. And so, since this book has such a following, or had, I'm going to put that in our $5. And it's a nice-looking book, too. Okay, so we have a few more collectibles that are going on eBay, or collectibles, sporting goods, whatnot. Here's a dozen of Trump golf balls. These are from 2020. A couple of them even show 2016, and they're all different. And I don't know what they'll sell for, but I do some research on eBay, and I see Trump golf balls selling, so I'm going to put them up there. And we'll see. I'll probably run that since I have the only dozen like this anywhere. So I'm gonna probably do $95 and then see if I can get a bite on it. 95, take 50 plus shipping. Got 2 pair of old ice climbing crampons. These are probably from the late 70s, early 80s. Exactly the type of thing I used to use back then, half a lifetime, no, more than a half a lifetime ago now. Anyway, but these are older and they're still functional, but there's much more streamlined and better equipment out there. So these aren't selling great, you know, in the $40 range. This one can probably get better because it's Renard, and that's pre-Black Diamond days. If you know anything about the climbing collectibles, it puts it very early. Like these are probably from the 70s, so someone's probably going to buy those and hang them up on the wall. Put them in a climbing museum or something. They're getting back that old now. And here's a pair of Brooks Glycerin GTS 19 running shoes, men's size 12. So they're my size, so that's why I grabbed them. And I mean, if you look at them, you can see they're in great shape. They pass the smell test. There's no like nasty odor or anything. So they're selling steadily in the 50 plus or minus range. This particular brand, that particular model, in that particular condition. So I don't know if I'm going to sell them or keep them yet. I don't need them right now. So let's say I find another pair of sneakers for, these are $2. Let's say I find another pair for $2 that are in nice shape that aren't selling for $50. I'll keep the $2 ones and I'll sell these for $50. All right, well, thanks for staying with us so far. And right now, I'm going to show you some examples of other books that we've sold recently that we haven't had a chance to put up in our What Has Sold videos. So here they are. All right, well, we really do appreciate you watching the videos. Thanks so much. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell, and you'll know when we put up another video. All right, thanks for your time. Bye.